Hi, I'm Jessica Lahr, and this is a look at your Thanksgiving weekend in the Finger Lakes. Thanksgiving Day will be windy with highs in the mid 50s, setting the stage for Friday's high of near 60. There will also be a 50% chance of showers on Friday, but with weather like this, it sure won't feel like the start of the holiday season. If the rain holds off, it will be great weather for Black Friday shoppers. It will become more seasonably cool starting on Saturday, where daytime highs will struggle to reach 40 degrees with just a 30% chance of a morning snow shower. Sunday will be partly sunny and pleasant with a high in the mid 40s. For the complete forecast and live radar, visit our Weather Center online at fingerlakes1.com or on the free Finger Lakes One Android or iPhone app. With November winding down in the Finger Lakes, the great local autumn photos keep pouring into fingerlakes1.com. Here are our staff picks for this week's top 5. At number 5, Mike Sargent visited Double Drop Falls in Phelps on Friday and caught this great photo of the cold November waters. In the 4th spot, Rachel Burkholder found this rose still blooming at Seneca Lake State Park on Tuesday, adding some color to a brown patch of ornamental grass planted around the rose bush. At 3 in the fourth, at 3, Mary Linehan shares the first snowfall of the season covering these pumpkins in Phelps on Monday morning. At number 2, Rachel Burkholder was on Town Line Road near Fayette Thursday evening and captured the gray skies change to a brilliant red, revealing a deep-colored rainbow in the eastern sky just for a moment before turning gray once more. And our top photo of the week, Jack McAllister took this great shot of the night sky over Seneca Lake from his deck in Dresden on Thursday evening, with the Big Dipper being the center of attention. Wow, pretty cool picture, Jack. Nice job. Great photos again this week, everyone, and thanks for sharing. You can check out all these photos and many more and learn how to share your own local photos with our users here at fingerlakes1.com by visiting our local photos page on our homepage or app. Maybe you'll find your photo in next week's Top 5. With the start of the holiday season, here's a look in the Finger Lakes at your top 5 local events taking place this weekend. Kicking things off at number 5, piano virtuoso Nicholas Hernick will be performing at the Willard Chapel in Auburn Sunday at 2 o'clock. Nicholas is an accomplished performer of solo piano works and has performed at Carnegie Hall, France, and music festivals around the States. The performance is to include those of Pressler, Opens, Brancart, and several more. There is no cost for this concert. At number 4, the Arts Center of Yates County is hosting its annual celebration exhibit Sunday from 1 until 3 in Penn Yan. Organizers make a point of featuring artists whose work lends itself to giving, and many of the artists create wonderful gift items for the show. There is something for everyone in the large selection of locally created pottery, jewelry, paintings, and holiday cards. The event is free and will include music, wine tastings, and hors d'oeuvres. Coming in at number 3, the FL1 sports team will be kicking off our 2015 and 16 high school basketball webcasts with a quadruple header at the New York Chiropractic College in Seneca Falls for the NYCC Tip-Off Classic on Saturday. At 1 o'clock, South Seneca will face Southern Cayuga, followed by North Rose Wolcott against Geneva at 3 p.m. At 5:30, the Lions take on Mid Lakes before the nightcap featuring Minders Academy versus Clyde Savannah at 7:30. You can watch all the games live on FingerLakes1.tv or YouTube, or you can head down to NYCC for a great day of basketball. Tickets are $4 at the door for adults, $3 for senior citizens and students, and children under 12 are free. At number 2, historic downtown Canandaigua is kicking off the holiday season Friday and lasting through Sunday. Santa's arrival at noon starts the event, followed by a tree lighting ceremony, horse-drawn carriage rides, and visits with Santa. You can also participate in Small Business Saturday when you patronize the small local businesses with your holiday shopping list in hand. And our top local event recommendation of the weekend is Bana's Bonanza Small Business Saturday Buy Local Holiday Shopping Event, which is being held at the Finger Lakes Mall in Auburn from 11 until 6. More than 25 local small businesses will showcase their products and services throughout the center of the mall. Shoppers will be able to find unique and interesting gifts, including art, woodworking, candles, jewelry, Native American goods, and much more. This is a great opportunity to support local businesses and boost the local economy. Whatever your plans, we hope you have a great weekend here in the Finger Lakes. On Monday morning, It's a Wonderful Run 5K race founder Jeff Rook was in studio as a guest on Weber This Week, where he gives an update on this year's event coming up on December 12th.
Spectacular. Jeff Rook's my special guest, longtime friend of mine, back in the Gould's Pumps days. It's hard to believe, Jeff, I'll be out 9 years in May.
Wow.
9 years I've been gone. It's amazing. But enough about talking pumps. Let's talk about It's a Wonderful Life, the 5K run, which you and your committee. And we want to start off by saying, how's it going? How's sign-ups doing? And please, as you always do, praise the people that put this together with you, the 5K run.
Yeah, registrations are going very well. We're a little over, I think, 2,200 already. So it's going to be another banner year, I think. I think we're going to be in that 3,500 to 4,000 range. Our goal is to get 4,000. We've never gotten up to 4,000, and I think it's going to be pretty close this year. The race is December 12th, Saturday. 4:40 is when it starts. And like you said, there's a whole bunch of people that are responsible for making this thing happen. I call it our core four. There's me and my wife, Kevin Korzaneski, Jolene Korzaneski. We kind of keep things going throughout the course of the year. And then when it comes race time, there's the police department. Jim Sidicropi, Finger Lakes One, does a great job in promoting our event. You have me on the show. The Seneca Falls Rec Center. There's just a ton of volunteers, family, friends who pitch in to make this thing happen. And this is our 7th year now, and it's been the last 6 have been very, very successful, and a lot of money donated to charities. People having great times, and just something to kick off the kind of the Christmas season. So it's been going well.
And of course, the only thing you and the committee must worry about is a major snowstorm.
Right.
Really, that would be the only thing that might cripple the event.
Right, which happened 2 years ago.
Yep, I remember.
It was pretty bad, but it wasn't bad enough to cancel the event. We have the town ready to plow right before the race starts, so it would have to be pretty severe to really cancel the event. So we're always worried about that. But you think about 2 years ago, we had 3,900 actually register. About 900 didn't show up. So we had 3,000 actually run the race. But that was probably, you talk to the runners, that was probably the best run. They loved the atmosphere with the snow, and it was just even though it wasn't easy running, it was a lot of fun, and people really enjoyed it.
It was certainly the most Christmassy of
By far.
all the races.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Jeff. If somebody's checking us out, this is Weber this week. Jeff Rook, my special guest, him and his Core 4 organizing and running this wonderful Life 5K run. Of course, starting off at the wonderful, marvelous bridge. Jeff, if somebody's watching us and hasn't signed up yet, what do they have to do to get involved?
Yeah, just go to our website. It's a wonderful run, 5k.com. You can register online or you can print a registration form. But the paper registrations, we're going to stop that. I believe Wednesday is going to be the last day to send in a paper registration. After that, you can register online all the way up until December 10th. So that's the way to do it.
And I love guests that come in and bring gifts for the dog. Notice the hat, folks. It's a nice-looking hat, huh? I love this color. Good golf hat for next spring, and certainly I appreciate that. It's always good to come with something in your hand. Just kidding. Hey, by the way, we have Jeff Rook here. We have tons of things to talk about. By the way, we invited Rhett Taccone, our good friend down at the college, who will be hosting a massive crew of 28 from us coming Saturday. It seems like we're going to have that many people. We kick off our basketball quadruple header starting Saturday. We'll get much more detail. We missed Rhett this morning. Understand something came up that he couldn't make the show. But we're looking forward to the hospitality that he allows the media and the fans and the teams. These teams that come to the college will get an experience second to none. We'll talk about that as we get ready to launch our high school basketball coverage. Hard to believe. Seems like the season just ended about 3 weeks ago. We're back with 25-game slate. We'll get into a whole lot more. And, of course, I would be remiss if I did not talk about other sports topics. Example, Jeff and Jimmy, Jeff Gordon, whether you love him or hate him in the world of auto racing, he has bid farewell to the sport, got a couple of kids, got a beautiful wife, he's got a lot of money. He's decided to call it quits for the basically running week to week. He may go and run individual races. Jeff Gordon finishing sixth yesterday at Homestead. An amazing career. My good friend and a great sponsor of this show, Jeff, Billy Ryan, Cuba Lake National Bank. His one of his idols is Jeff Gordon. He follows Jeff Gordon since he came into racing. You go into Bill's office at Cuba Lake National Bank, and I stop over there sometimes to chit-chat with him, have coffee. He's got all the little dials and the paraphernalia.
On Tuesday on Kenny's Two Pennies, Kenny Haas gives his thoughts on the firing of Syracuse's head football coach, Scott Schaefer.
All right, I'm not practicing for Oktoberfest, nor am I wearing lederhosen. Well, I'm just doing that because guess what, Syracuse fans? No more Scott Schaefer. That's right. They finally adhered to my wishes and they fired him yesterday. As you know what? When you're all talk and no substance, where does that get you? Yeah, he talked a good thing, and yeah, in ways, I admire him. He's a nice guy. Yeah, but you know what? When you talk about it, but you don't deliver on the field, where does that get you? The Orange started looking like the second coming of Greg Robinson with him as the coach. Yeah, he led him to a bowl game in his first year. But look what happened the last 2 years. It started looking like that Greg Robinson had resurfaced. And of course, you only go 1-7 in the ACC the first year, and you're about to maybe go like that this year. Hopefully, we'll get a victory Saturday against Boston College in what'll be Schaefer's final game as the coach. But you know what? It's all Schaefer was. All talk, no results. Plus a lot of the questionable decisions he had. Playing Eric Dungy when the game was already out of hand. Getting him injured to where maybe Dungy's career may be over at Syracuse after just 1 year. Plus also against North Carolina State this past Saturday. What's with getting to the 1 foot line, then kicking the field goal? Hey, when you're a coach and you're in a major program, why don't you grow a pair and go for it? I mean, I admire what you did with Riley Dixon, having them fake punts, run or pass to get the first down on some of them. Those calls I admire you for. But you know what? It seemed as though you always misfire. Plus, Syracuse didn't seem to have some of the fundamentals down pat and some of the stupid penalties. Well, you know what, Schaefer? Yeah, you had 3 years, but good riddance to you. Don't let the door hit you in the keister on the way out. And I mean, I think it's time to maybe look at who may be coming to the Hill. I mean, they've put out some flyers there about possible candidates. The new athletic director has strong ties to Scott Frost, who's the offensive coordinator for Oregon. And you see how explosive the Ducks' offense has been. Plus, Frost has got a great resume. He was the quarterback at Nebraska and led them to a national title. And he's got an explosive offense. And you see how the offense was for the Cuse. You know, maybe this Scott might be the frosting on the cake. Plus, former Syracuse quarterback Dave Warner might be a viable candidate. He's the co-offensive coordinator there for Michigan State. And you see what Michigan State did against Ohio State this past Saturday. Well, we might be welcoming Dave Warner back to the Hill. Also, Ed Ogeron has also been shopped around as a name. He was the one who took over a couple of years ago when Lane Kiffin was fired at USC. Plus, he's got viable ties to the West Coast. And I mean, he's on the hot seat down there at LSU, but some people are saying, would Les Miles come up here? Well, you know, they're going to have to open the coffers to bring Les Miles up here to the Hill. But that would be a big coup if Les Miles could come from LSU up here. Oh, we'll just wait and see. And I mean, there's been even talk, would Doug Marrone come back?
On Sunday morning season premiere episode of the Upstate Hoops podcast, Jim Sinacropi and Matt Verke reveal the first weekly top 10 poll for the upcoming high school basketball season in the Wayne Finger Lakes Leagues.
I gotta tell you, we get excited about our power rankings. It doesn't mean anything. We bunch the Wayne Finger Lakes teams together, we put our votes in, and we rank them out like the AP does for college basketball. And we are about ready now to unveil our inaugural poll for the season. If I can find it up here. And again, we had 8 people voting here on our power rankings from the FL1 sports team, and they were aggregated. And, you know, before I put it up on the screen, I think we'll just read them off backwards. We'll start with number 10. And 10 was the Lions. And we had some, Lions was, one vote had them as high as 5. A couple people left them off their poll because of their huge losses last year. Also, you know, Damon Hunter is a big-time loss. Derek Farrell may be equally as big, even though it's not as high profile, but that guy was getting everything done out there defensively, on the boards, coming up with big baskets, kind of the heart and soul of that Lions team. And then Carswell, too, which when looking at Lions going into this year, we thought, well, Carswell, you know, will be back, but he won't. He won't be back. So Lions drops to 10. They open at 10, I should say. Also some teams also receiving votes that we'll give you after the poll. Up to 9, we got the Naples Big Green. Only one loss last year. They did lose some players, but Coach Mick Salter, great coach. I'm high on the Fleischman kid, Zach Dormer. We saw some kids play in that sectional semifinal loss in Bloomfield last year that really showed a lot of promise. I think it's going to be a next man up type of situation in Naples. I don't think they'll have the success they had last year, but I think they could come pretty close. And then at 8, we'd have the Clyde Savannah Golden Eagles opening at 8, playing in Class C1 this year. We just talked extensively about them. And then just ahead of Clyde at 7, we have the Marcus Whitman Wildcats, who have probably the best 2-man, 1-2 big man punch in maybe the Wayne Finger Lakes, in Gavin McComiskey and Brad Stone, Brad Stone's got to be 6'7" in there, I think. 6'6", 6'7". Reminds me of Matt Colgrove, the former Romulus great, a guy who Hell, does he still hold a record, Verk? He has a record that
Well,
you couldn't match.
Well, he had 35 in a sectional game. That was his
Right,
so he's
claim
in
to
the
fame.
sectional handbook.
Okay, he's still in there.
Yeah, I think they list everybody who ever scored 35 and above
Oh,
in
nice.
the sectional handbook.
So, anyways, this Stone kid reminds me a little of Colgrove. Then we go up to 6, and that's where Brian Miller's Geneva Panthers are debuting at 6. The only Wayne Finger Lakes team other than Wayne that's in Class A. And then at 5, we have the Waterloo Indians. They could end up much higher than 5, or they could drop right out of our polls. We don't know what to expect other than the fact that we know the talent's there, but we haven't seen them consistently put it together. Last year, they did make some strides with some big wins that they may have otherwise lost in years prior. The overtime Palmat game comes to mind that they won at home last year, but in a tough B1 classification, can Waterloo, first of all, compete for the East, and then can they compete for a sectional title? We got them at 5, which would be a ranking that would make you think that they could. So we'll see how they do when the ball's tipped. On Saturday, they open against Bloomfield, opposite of our tip-off classic. So maybe we'll have reports from you from that gym during our broadcast at NYCC. Number 4. They were number 1 most of last year in our power rankings, but they debut at 4. That's Bob Havarilla's Newark Reds. These guys also really varied widely in their position in the polls I received. 2 first-place votes they got, but there was also a couple polls where they were in the lower half because a lot of people, and Verk, I know this is one thing that like you and me and Corsi might talked about a lot over the past month is, how much will Newark be down after losing those guys? And you seem to think it'll be a little bigger drop than maybe Corsi and I do. I can tell you that Corsi had him number 1. He's one of those 2 first-place votes. I think I had him right there at 4.
Yeah, I think losing Collins and Logan's is a huge loss. Newark's good enough to overcome that, and I think the league is balanced enough where, it wouldn't shock me if Newark won the league. I just those are big losses. They're going to have some kids in there who are really going to have to step up, but Newark traditionally, their JV team's always solid. They're going to bring some kids up, and they still have some nice pieces to work around. But I think they're. I don't see them running the table in the Finger Lakes East this year. Let's put it that way. And
yeah.
I still see them as a top 2 or 3 team in the East, and and overall in the Finger Lakes West and Wayne County. But I just think they're going to suffer a little bit from losing those guys.
Yeah, I mean I agree too. They will be down. I just don't know if it's as much of a drop down as people are thinking. And there are some people that think that they won't be down at all. That they'll be right back. And but East is too tough, I think, to consider them to run the table like they did last year. So then we got coming in at number 3 in our power rankings, we got the North Rose Wolcott Cougars. They have 1 first-place vote in our poll, and it's the old East versus the best teams in the East versus the best teams in the West. Usually you give favor to the best teams in the East, and I think that's the case here. But North Rose, with an opening win against Geneva, could make a stronger case maybe for the top spot in the poll next week. Spencer, you think 3 is a good spot for the Cougars?
3 is a good start, yeah. Like you said, they could very easily bump up to 2 or 1 here with a win over the Geneva Panthers there.
Yep, that North Rose is at 3. And then we round out our poll with maybe a team that kind of has been flying under the radar in terms of the minds of basketball fans around here, but the Palmac Red Raiders coming in at 2. They also had 2 first-place votes. So you're talking about Damian Wright. You're talking about Hunter Vanderveld. You're talking about they got another guard, young guard, not Hawkins. He's on Geneva. I wish I wasn't drawing that blank there. They got Sutberry in the middle, kind of reliable big guy. But Damian Wright, just a junior. He hit some big shots last year as a sophomore. He's coming in as just a junior. Palmac coming in at number 2, and then that leaves the number 1 team in our preseason power rankings as the Minders Blue Devils, who we talked extensively about tonight. As you take a look there at the complete poll, we got Lions at 10, Naples at 9, Clyde at 8, Marcus Whitman at 7, Geneva at 6, Waterloo at 5, Newark at 4, North Rose Wolcott at 3, the Palmac Red Raiders at 2, and the Minders Academy Blue Devils topping our poll to kick off the season. And that poll will be updated every Sunday throughout the season and released on this podcast. And that's a pretty good looking power ranking to start things out. Verk, is there anything in there that you personally really disagree with?
No, not necessarily. I think Palmac's gonna be good. I think you're thinking like Holden Knorr.
Yeah,
They
good
also have
3-point
Brandon
shooter.
Hawkins is with them too. But yeah, they bring back a bunch of guards. They can really shoot the ball. And it's hard to judge these teams because it's tough to remember sometimes who teams lost and who teams have coming up, and you never know. There could be some studs on some of these JV teams that come in and make big contributions this year. But I think based on what we know with the returning guys that Minders have, obviously they lose Liam Caraher, but they bring everybody else back, and they got 2 sophomores coming up who are going to greatly benefit them this year. And I think the guys in the middle are going to be that much better this year for them, and Jake Main and Ben Cafola. They got good overall size. They got good shooters. They got good point guard play. I just think they have all the elements to compete for the top of that league this year.
So it all gets underway Saturday at New York State Chiropractic College, and we'll take you right through into late February and perhaps early March for the local teams that get up to the Blue Cross Arena. We'll bring you all the action here on FL1 Sports. The girls Super 6 poll will debut next week. It's tough this time of year to get information, to make informed decisions. So we're going to get to see a few games maybe, or at least talk to a few more coaches to get a better a poll for the girls Super 6. So that'll debut on next week's episode, and we'll talk a little bit more about the girls next week. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us for a special season preview edition of the Upstate Hoops podcast on Finger Lakes 1 TV. And we mentioned those games coming up at the Chiropractic College on Saturday. We do hope you'll tune in and join us for some great high school basketball on Saturday. Hoping to we also have some other webcasts coming up.
Be sure to check back at
Next
fingerlakes1.com for the latest weather forecast and local news throughout the week. For fingerlakes1.com, I'm Jessica Lahr. Have a happy Thanksgiving in the Finger Lakes.